Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Cara ASMR. Today's video is a little different and a little difficult, not gonna lie. So today, it's gonna be kind of a story time, not like I did last time with my dreams or whatever. This is gonna be unscripted. It's going to just me kind of rattling off, you know, the recounting of, you know, that. So, today we're going to be talking about my history of mental health. I've seen a lot of people recently on Twitter and Instagram, you know, during these quarantine times that their mental health seems to be declining, which, understandable, I've been there. Quarantine can be tough, especially for people that are mostly extroverts and need that social atmosphere to be able to study their mental health. So today, I thought I'd talk about my history while I clean my doll collection. So it's like, you know, Funkos, dolls, whatever. We all have our collections. I have way too many collections, but this is one of my favorites, and we're just gonna clean them. They haven't been dusted in a while, and just talk. So before we get started, I want to put a trigger warning on this video for mental health, like depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, self-harm. Am I missing anything? Just a trigger warning in general. This may be a difficult video for some people to watch. That's okay. I understand. So without further ado, let's just get on into it. A lot of you liked the gloves and the last time I used them, so we're gonna be wearing them again. Did you see the latex just blow up my face? Also, I have asthma, and dust is like bad for my asthma, so we're gonna hope for the best. Taking my ring off. Gonna find somewhere safe. It is currently Easter Sunday when I'm filming this. So that's why I'm like dolled up more than I usually am. So, and I did my makeup before I picked my outfit out, so that's why my eye makeup doesn't match. Oh well. Gloves are on. I have this little dust pad that's usually going on a Swiffer, like a hand Swiffer that you do. You know what I mean. And I'm gonna use it to dust my collection. Save that for a future video. So this is the thing you usually put the little sticks in it, but we're just gonna use it like it is. It's very soft. So I think we'll start with Funkos just to get them out of the way, because they're pretty small. So my Golden Girls, I'm not gonna be talking about them that much. We're going to be talking about mental health. You've already seen all these anyway. So I suppose my mental health journey, if you want to call it that, can be, I guess, tracked down to 6th grade. You know, that's when you enter middle school. Some people it's 7th grade, but for me it was when I entered middle school, the year of cliques and finding out that you aren't really friends with everybody, and it can be difficult. So I started, one down. I started 6th grade with maybe 3 friends, I want to say. It wasn't many because, again, cliques. Brittany. So I had like a special group, and once I got to middle school, I realized, oh, well, groups are different. It's no longer just cheerleaders and football players and book nerds. There's a lot more to go around. And so for me, I quickly adapted to the quote-unquote emo group, I guess, or goth group, I don't know. It was bad. I, fell into that crowd, and I made a lot of good friends there. And so when I was in that group and I started hanging more with them, I kind of left behind my old friends from elementary school, which at the time was like, whatever. But now that I'm older, I wish I would have like kept touch with them, you know what I mean? So, as I went on into middle school, 7th, 8th grade, I started developing my own style and my own personality. I had like bangs, like it was, buddy, if I find pictures I'll show you, but it was, yeah. And I started wearing these band t-shirts, listening to screamo music, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it just, truly looking back, it wasn't me. It was a clique that I could join. It was somewhere I could easily find myself, because I wasn't popular. I'd never been popular. The closest I came to being popular was when my mom worked at my elementary school and kids would be like, hey, can your mom get us out of class? That was as close as it ever came. And that was just using me. Which, cool, we've all used people who don't lie. So anyways, the more I went into middle school and I started, changing my style, I guess people, more of them just didn't like the style. I found myself being bullied more. I'd always been, I guess, picked on or like kicked out of the crowd, because I'd always been bigger. I got bigger than I am now in like 3rd grade. And I gained weight, like, that's not a lie. So, I was being picked on, and Ron. And so, it got worse. At first it was just name calling or people excluding me or, things like that. And then it developed into like stupid pranks. At one point a kid had punched me in the hallway, like to the ground, and a teacher saw it and did nothing. So that didn't help the matter that teachers were seeing this and didn't care. What? So, which is a big problem. Still is today. So, once that got worse, and this is probably the worst part for like trigger warnings. So I started trying to find ways to cope with being bullied and cope with these feelings growing inside me that were saying, you're not enough, you're no good, you're fat, you're ugly, you don't deserve to live, things like that. So I tried to find ways to cope. At first it was music. I was playing flute at that point when it got really bad, so I turned to that. I listened to music. I took up piano a while. So I would try to find healthy outlets. Those didn't last. So, and at this point I hadn't told anyone either. So I was like trying to figure this out on my own. And at first it was okay. I was doing it on my own. I was like, yeah, I can do this. Everyone's bullied. It's in the movies. But what they don't tell you in the movies is if you don't get help and don't tell someone, that the problem's only going to escalate. So come 8th grade, I stumbled upon a website called Tumblr. We've all used Tumblr, hopefully. Hopefully not, actually. Unless you're like the art side. So I stumbled upon there and found the quote-unquote depressed section, and it hit me. It connected with me. I was feeling what these people were feeling, these stories. And I stumbled upon some photos that shouldn't have been on in the first place. They weren't healthy to look at, anyone to look at, but I found them. And so I thought, hey, if these people are saying this is how they cope, maybe it'll help me cope, you know? Oh god, peer pressure. Not even peer pressure, just internet influence. So I, at that point, had begun self-harming. And I won't go into like detail about it, but it was bad. I did multiple things. You know, there was cutting, there was burning, there was scratching. So there was like a lot of different things that I did that were just coping mechanisms, unhealthy coping mechanisms, but you know, I did them anyway. I hadn't told anyone, so no one was there to say, hey, this isn't right. So that continued on into about the end of 9th grade, close to the end of 9th grade. And during this, my friends had noticed I had begun to decrease in my social activity. I wasn't, you know, trying to participate in class anymore, and yet teachers didn't realize. So I guess it was, yeah, the end of 9th grade, or so maybe it was the beginning of 9th grade, it was around there. It just got to the point where it was too much. So I decided life wasn't worth it, you know, and I was done. So I tried to kill myself, and it was an awful way to do it. I shouldn't laugh, but that's the only way I can go about this, is laughing. You know, me, 300 some pounds at the time, decided I'm going to a ceiling that's already on the first floor of a second-story house. It's gonna hold me, right? The only thing I got was knocked out. Like, I was knocked out for a few minutes, and my bulb in my ceiling had come on smashed. Not in this room, but like, it was upstairs, like the part that leads up the stairs. I can't explain it, you have to see my house. So, yeah, I did that. That sucked. And I think I was more mad than anything that it hadn't worked. Because I really want it out. I mean, how else was I supposed to react, you know? I hadn't told anyone, so I didn't really know how to go about the emotions and stuff. So after that, things just started to worsen. Is that the word, worsen? Yeah. So they got worse. I began self-harming more often. I began plotting multiple different ways to kill myself. And I started pushing people away. And, you know, at this point, though, the bullying it wasn't decreasing, but it wasn't getting any worse. So it had just got to the point that my mental health had already been smashed down so much that was what I thought was normal, was to feel the things I was feeling. It's my favorite Funko Pop. It's a limited edition. So what I did after that was, at one point, I hurt myself so bad that I had passed out. And I guess I told a friend about it. I don't really remember the details. I think I told a friend about it, though. We'd only been friends a few weeks but I trusted her enough. And I told her, and I guess she told the school principal. So, and you know, when a school principal hears, hey, one of your students almost killed themselves, I guess that's the time to step up. I think it would have been when they were being bullied and you saw it, but I digress. So, apparently she called my mom, and my mom said, hey, let's go for ice cream. And you know, I'm sitting here like 15, 16, like, oh, great, let's go for some ice cream. And she pulled off the side of the road. She was like, I know. And what's going to happen is either you're going to voluntarily attend therapy, and I'm going to take you. My mom struggled with mental health her life. She knows what's going on. You know, my feelings and stuff, she knows now. So she says, you can hear the rain. You're going to go to therapy voluntarily, or you're going to ignore the thing, and then when you go to school, they're going to send you away. Because if I didn't agree with what my mom said, then I was going to be put in a psych ward. And more on that later, because psych wards aren't fun. So I was like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll go. Because I didn't want anyone at school to know about the problem, right? So I began therapy at that point, still harming myself. And I met a therapist. She was my first therapist. I've had 5 therapists now. So, and she was my longest one. She was an amazing person. She taught me so much about myself, how to love myself, how to not care what other people thought about me, and to live authentically. And so, you know, my first couple months with her were pretty hard because she made me keep a journal. I still own that journal. I might actually read it on this channel one day because it's kind of funny looking back at it now. But she helped me get through a lot. And the only thing that really sucked about therapy was going. I would hide it from people. So I'd get checked out once a week, and I would attend therapy. And usually you can't miss more than, I think, 6 days in a year. But my principal knew the situation. She had a paper that the county offered that was, you have it signed by your doctor, and you can be checked out as many times as you want, as long as you don't fall behind, because it's your health. And I am glad they did that, because usually it's just like chronic illnesses, and mental health is a chronic illness, and people don't realize that oftentimes. But luckily they did count that. Yeah. So after that, I started attending more, and it got to a point where I felt like I was going to kill myself again. So I told my therapist, and she said, okay, well, you have 2 options. A lot of options in my life, right? Either you go to a facility for 4+ months, minimum is 3 months, or you can go to a clinic that is, I think, 4 days was the minimum, 4 or 5 days. I ended up staying 6. And you go there, they help you through your problems, help you. It was a crisis center, I think is what it was. It was what it's called. And then your crisis is over in those days, and you can come back and live normally again. It's like just a pit stop, I guess. And so I chose the 6 days, obviously. And it was truly the worst 6 days of my life. The center wasn't what I thought it was. They did no therapy. They didn't help us. We had a schedule, which was nice. But it was the middle of June. And they made us do schoolwork. 2nd grade schoolwork. Okay? Like, math fractions or whatever. And I was like, excuse me, I'm like almost a sophomore, and I don't need this. So they would yell at you. They'd just be like, you're gonna do it, or you're gonna go put in alone time, which was, I guess, solitary for them, but it was literally just a corner in the room. So I did the work, you know, did what I had to do. There was no therapy sessions. There was a arts and crafts time, which you were supposed to open up, but no one ever did because there were no trained professionals to lead the conversation. So by the 2nd day, I was begging my mom, take me home, please, because they could come visit, and she visited every day. And she couldn't. She said, I want you to get better. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I was mad at the point. But after the 6 days, I came home and I was done. And I never told anyone. To this day, I don't think I've told any of my friends. And I'm not even friends with those people anymore, but I never told anyone that I had been. You know, where I grow up, it's kind of a thing to be ashamed of. That you're sick mentally. Which you're not sick if you have mental illness problems. You're just struggling, I guess. Or surviving. I don't know. I feel like I struggle, but it's whatever. Everyone has their different views. This is Princess Leia. So, after that trip, I started getting a little better. The bullying had worn off, and it was because my principal had, there was like a group of students that were really close to the principal. One of them was the child of the principal, and they all kind of made friends with me. And at the time, I was like, oh wow, people like me? Maybe because I'm writing more, or I'm doing well in school, I don't know. But now that I'm older, I know it was just, you know, like, make friends, so nothing happens. Needs friends, make friends. It's like a guilt thing, I guess, or like a responsibility thing, which was nice. I made really good friends with them. After a while, it was genuine friendships. We were texting, I went to a party at one point. It was really nice. I was having fun. I was living my high school career. It was awesome. So then, I guess, the end of sophomore year, things got really bad again. I was not depression or self-harm wise. I had not been self-harming for 6+ months at this point. So I was doing good on that. But my anxiety had gotten so bad. My mother was coming to pick me up every day. And we weren't even going to therapy. It was just because I couldn't be in a room with people. And it was really odd because just a few weeks prior to that, I had performed in front of the entire student body for a music contest singing. So I had no idea what had turned the anxiety around like that. I had just, at one point, stopped being able to have social interactions. And probably after, I guess, a month or so of that happening, people started noticing. Mostly my guidance counselor and the principal and whatever. And so, my guidance counselor, sweetest lady you'll ever meet, she was very understanding. She gave me the option, as long as my mother approved it, that I would do homebound, which was usually meant for sick kids that had had surgeries or were in long recoveries or whatever. It was often used for like tonsillitis and things like that, or appendixes being removed. And so my guidance counselor said if your mom approves it and your therapist will sign it, it's 3 months of we bring the work to you, you fill it out, you do the work, and we send it back. And she would be my teacher. She'd have a volunteer, she'd have her coming herself. And so I did it. And at that point, things with my friends started declining. I don't know if it was because I wasn't in school and they were mad, or because it was one of those, if you're not friends in school, you're not friends at all. And so, no one texted me after a while. I had friends that used to visit the house and just stopped. And at one point I had these certain people in my life, there were a couple of them that said I was faking everything, that my mental health wasn't real, and that I could get over it if I really wanted to. And that hurt the most, I think, because they tell you in therapy that your mental health is important and it's valid, and it's okay to not be okay. I had a Spanish teacher tell me that one time. And so, when you have the people that are supposed to mean the most to your life tell you you're faking it and that your feelings aren't valid, it hurts. And that's when I stopped being friends with a lot of them. There was one that had told me to kill myself, and so I was done. And I think a lot of them, the more popular crowd, just didn't mean to let me go, but I kind of pushed them away on purpose with my anxiety. So yeah, by this point of Homebound, I had virtually no friends. I was going to therapy, coming home, eating my feelings, doing my schoolwork, and sleeping. That was it. And it was at that point that I had started YouTube. I remember uploading my first video. It was a gum chewing video because I had watched a ASMR video of Sassy Snacks, rest her soul, amazing person, and her video just connected with me, and it was an ex who would actually show me the video. You know, I was dating too at that time, but come on, I was 16, maybe 17, and I ain't dating. Come on. When it lasts for 3 months, you were just stupid and young, is what I told myself. So, you know, after I started doing YouTube, I guess I kind of found an outlet and a coping mechanism, but my anxiety had still not gotten better. So when it came time to renew the 3 months for Homebound, they had said, you can't do it, you can't renew it, even if your therapist does. So that really sucked because I was not ready to go back. So my mom had talked with a friend, one of our neighbors, and she had told her about this program called Penn Foster. And, sorry, my cat. And so it was a program where high school was online, you got to leave public school, do your own thing, and get your degree on your own, get your diploma on your own time. And my mom was like, whoa, that sounds like a deal. Let's do it. We looked into it, and I was like, Mom, I don't want you to pay this much, and she's the best mother because she had said, I don't care what it costs, I want your mental health to be where it needs to be, and if that means putting you in an online school, I'll do it. And I love her so much because that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I ended up getting my diploma in 3 months. I was in public school, had a year and a half left. So, yeah, this is really dirty. Probably gonna need some kind of spray. So, I got my diploma. At this point, YouTube had kind of taken off, if you should say, if I can say that. So I decided I was going to go to college, and that was real stupid of me. So I ended up applying to 2 colleges, 3. A community college, which of course I ended up attending later, and then 2 universities. Marshall University in West Virginia, which was my first choice, and Berea, which we've all known. I got into both. Marshall was way too expensive because out-of-state tuition, and I'd have to live with my grandmother for 6 months in West Virginia in order to get that discount. And I wasn't about to do that because I don't know her very well. Love her, but we just don't have the same differences. Anyways, I decided Berea would be a good choice. It was supposed to be free tuition, you know, for lower class, and it wasn't. My family is lower class. My dad's a blue-collar worker. He always has been. And so I thought, cute, I'll go to college, get my degree, not have to pay that much. I ended up paying the amount I pay at Marshall. That was bad. So I did pretty well my first semester. It's kind of documented on YouTube. But my mental health was still really bad for my anxiety. I tried to fight it back. You know, I was on 7 different medications at this point. It was bad. But I was trying to hide it because I wanted my mom and my family to know that I was getting better and that I'm going to college, I'm getting better. I'm gonna turn into a person that can live on my own, that can do my own things. And that just wasn't the case. I would go to college. I had a roommate. left probably 2 months in. So I was alone. And I started living on a schedule that was go to class, come back to your dorm, don't leave. I would go to my classes, I'd go to my work. Work was a lot of judgmental people there, so that didn't help anything. And so, Harry, his head fell out of his little case. So I was kind of a loner. I stayed in my dorm all the time. I went to maybe 2 student organization get-togethers. The first night I went to a party that was held by campus. They threw it. And it was okay. I left for about 15 minutes. But I went. And then when they picked my classes, they put me in what they call, and this sucks, an all-male initiative class. And they didn't know I was trans. So I got there, the teacher called roll, and she was like, whoa, wait a second. It was really funny. She's like, you don't have to take this class if you don't want to. I mean, we can take you off the roster. You can pick another class. And I don't know why I did, but I said no. This will be fun. It was an Appalachian class. I hated Appalachia at that point. Love it now because of that class. And this teacher, she became my guiding light. I love her so much. And it really sucked because I was the first female in her class, and she was using me as an example in like these documents and these reports to the board and stuff. And when I decided to drop out, which was a rash decision, and sometimes I regret it, but sometimes I don't. But it was, I mean, I was starving myself because I wouldn't go to the cafeteria. I had free lunches, breakfast, and dinners. I paid for that. I had to limit it, but I didn't use it. I maybe went, I don't know, rough number 30% of the time that I was allotted. I would just eat little snacky things I had in my dorm, like gummies or those little crackers and tuna in a can. I wouldn't eat full meals. I just wouldn't. There was a water dispenser in the hall, and I had a Yeti cup. That was what I lived off of. And so that was my life for 5 months until the semester was over. I did well. I made Dean's List, so that was nice. And it's one of the hardest colleges in Kentucky to make Dean's List on. So I was proud of myself. I did well, but I came home, and the whole time over Christmas break I was thinking, I can't go back. But if I don't, then my family is going to think that I'm a failure. So I went back. 3 weeks in, I left, which really sucked for my family, and I regret it so much for them. I've apologized numerous times. They had to come at 3 a.m. to come collect my things because I had signed the dropout papers on Friday, and I had to be out by Monday. And so all weekend, there were these events and stuff, so I had to get out while I could before it got crammed. 3 a.m., they come and pick me up. We get home at 6 a.m., all that fun things. And it really sucked because the night I left, the whole time I was there, I didn't think I belonged. And the night I left, I was going up to do a double check on my room. And there was this kid, I remember his name, Isaiah, but we never spoke. And by school rules or whatever, your authentic name or whatever has to be on your door, and it was there until I had it changed. But he looked at me and he said, "Hey Cara, I forgot my key, can you let me into the main door?" And I remember going straight to my room and crying because that was the first time a student on my floor had called me by my name. And it was heartbreaking because I was, at that one split second, I felt like maybe I do belong, but it was too late. And I don't think I would have been happy had I stayed. I mean, one little thing compared to more months of torture in my brain. But, that happened, and I left. I took the rest of the year off, and I began that fall at my community college, did well there, made president's list. That was amazing for me. I was really proud of myself, and it was all online, so I was basically teaching myself how to do these things. And I did well, and I did my spring semester halfway through. No, I finished my spring semester. Yeah, I finished spring too. So 2 semesters. And then I did halfway through my fall semester. It was like my grandmother died last year, and so I dropped out. And yeah, I kind of regret it. I told myself I'd take a year off, but I don't even know if I'm gonna go back. I don't know if I can go back. I am like this deep in student loans, and also tuition, because when you drop out you have to pay your tuition back, and that's a crap ton of tuition. You know, it's not like a lot to people who make the bank. Like, I think my tuition was close to 2, and so I know people who have a lot of money are just like, hey, no, that's not much. We're lower class, so that really sucks to pay. And you know, as long as you pay like, you know, $10, $15 here, they're not gonna cut you off. But until I pay that, I can't return. And I don't even know if I want to. My mental health has got to this point that I love myself. I am a boss AB. I don't care. I love myself. It took me a while to get there, but I do. But it's my anxiety. I have no friends. This ain't a pity party, so don't y'all go in the comments saying, oh, no. I have no friends. I'm fine with that. Sometimes I wish I had someone to hang out with, but, you know, I have my family. I have people that are close to me that I can, you know, talk to. So I'm fine with that. I have someone very special in my life, so I'm okay. I just sometimes wish my life had been a little different. I don't know. But a couple weeks ago, I talked to my therapist, and this is my 5th therapist, mind you. I didn't really talk about my therapist, but my first one left. My second one was awful. Left her in a week. My third one left for the same job my first one did, and my 4th one left for the same job my first one did. It was really strange. So now my 5th one is private owned. I was done with public health, privately owned. It's a little more expensive, but it's fine. It's my mental health we're talking about. You wouldn't skip cancer treatments because it's a little pricey if you're gonna do whatever you can to stay healthy. And that's the way I looked at it. So we were talking, and she said, you know, do you sometimes wish maybe you hadn't done the things you've done in life? Like self-harming, and do you wish you didn't have depression? And I'm like, of course I wish I didn't have depression. But I wouldn't change the things I've been through, because they've made me who I am. I think of it in like a gladiator style. If you don't go through that battle head on, then you're gonna cower, and it's gonna just capsize you, and you're gonna have nothing left. And so when I decided to get treatment, that was going into the battle. That was facing my demons head on. And it sucked. There was a lot of struggling, but I got through it. And I'm a fighter. I'm here today. You know, like suicide attempt, self-harm, being locked away. It was a lot of stuff, but I made it. And so I guess what I'm trying to say, all this crazy story that is probably going to give you whiplash from me jumping around, don't knock my dolls over. That's going to make a noise and a half. Please don't. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're going through something, keep going. I know that sounds really cheesy, but if you stop and you let it seize you, you're never going to win. You have to find something, a light, a end of the tunnel, something to grab onto, to look towards for your end goal. Am I done fighting? Absolutely not. There are days when I wake up and I don't even want to get out of bed. I didn't upload last week because I didn't want to get out of bed. So you know, there's a constant fight. But if you don't let it win, it won't win. You just have to keep going. And it took me a while to learn that, but once I did, my life became so much better. So, yeah, that's kind of my journey with mental health. I know I laugh about it now, but that's all you can do. You know, it's kind of like looking back at pictures of yourself and going, oh God, why did I get that haircut? And you're laughing about it because it sucks. But if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And it's funny to look at it as, wow, that's a funny thing I can maybe one day tell my kids when they're going through something similar. It was a struggle, but it got me where I am. So yeah, my cat is trying to knock over my light. Please stop. So, I'm not doing this. You're gonna hurt everything. Stop. So yeah, that is my last doll, and that is the end of the story. I have all the Harry Potter dolls except like 4. I'm kind of obsessed. So, yeah, I'm glad that I could tell this journey of mine. Maybe hopefully help someone out there relate. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was somewhat relaxing. She's biting the plastic. Is it tasty? So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to always keep fighting and pushing forward. And until next time, remember you're beautiful, you are wonderful, and you are loved. Okay? Always. Bye.